Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 746 of Screw the Commute podcast. Today we're going to talk about multiple and bulk sales. This can really add a lot of money to your bottom line with less hassle too. All right, hope you didn't miss episode 745. That was business gifting. I mean, this is something you might want to add to your business operations. And really, no matter how big or small your business is, I mean, there's loads of benefits to it, and I covered it on that episode. Of course, anytime you want to get to a back episode, you go to screwthecommute.com/ and then the episode number. Business gifting was 745. All right, make sure you follow me on TikTok at Digital Multimillionaire. I got a couple hundred short training videos there. And make sure you pick up a copy of our automation ebook. You will thank me for it. If you just implement a little bit of what's in that book, you'll save yourself hundreds and hundreds of hours into the future. Pick it up at screwthecommute.com/automate free. All right, let's get to the main event. I mean, selling more than one of your products at a time, or one of your specific product at a time. I'm not talking about multiple different products. I'm talking about a product that you sell 50 of, or 100, or 5, or whatever. It's usually less hassle than selling them one at a time. And this is called multiple sales. And for much larger amounts of your product at one time, it's typically called bulk sales. Now, these sales are virtually always much cheaper per unit, but you get a much larger amount of money from the buyer, and you knock out the individual attention required if, selling things one at a time. All right, so let's start small here. Let's say you have a book or a widget or some kind of product that would lend itself to being a gift. In fact, if you have such a product, you need to put that fact that it's a great gift item in your sales copy. That puts the bug in people's ear that they could buy a bunch of them and knock out a bunch of their gifting obligations. And maybe if they buy 3 to 5, they get a 30% discount, or 5 or more gets a 50% discount. I mean, you make up whatever percentages and quantities that make sense for you. Now, a good shopping cart system like Kickstart Cart, which is what I've been using for 20 years, will allow you to put these quantities and discounts in a drop-down box where the shopping cart automatically gives them the discounted price when they pick their quantity. You don't have to do anything. They buy online and you ship whatever quantity they ordered. All right, and guess what? Even if it's not a gift item, maybe it's a product that people will consume and need to buy again. Well, you could make a discount price for buying a bunch now. I mean, you could say something in your copy like stock up and save or something like that. Another option is to, this is a cool one, is to offer them a subscription so that each week or month or whatever time period, you automatically ship them some more of whatever they bought. Now, that doesn't give you the punch of a larger amount of money up front, but it gives you recurring income that could far exceed one big purchase at the beginning. I mean, I'm talking about potentially years of sales for that subscription. All right, so that was a couple strategies to get multiple sales coming in. Now let's look at bulk sales. That's B-U-L-K. Let's say you're using the strategy of sending your book or widget or whatever it is to CEOs of companies that you'd like to sell to. And maybe the CEO, let's say it's a book, loves your book and wants to buy 5,000 copies to give to his sales force around the country, his or her sales force. So you have some options here. See, with a guaranteed sale of 5,000, you will want to go to a commercial book printer. Of course, you're going to get a deposit on this that's going to pay these bills. But anyway, if you go to a commercial book printer and your book that normally costs you $5.50 a piece on print on demand might only cost $1.50 a piece from a commercial book printer. Also, since you're printing up this special batch, you would be able to offer the CEO a perk of writing the foreword for the book and putting the company logo on the cover, all at no extra cost to the company. Now, if the cover price of the book, let's do some numbers here, was $24.95 and you gave the CEO a 50% discount, you would sell 5,000 books at $12.48 each. That's $62,375 gross, and your cost of the printing was $7,500, so that nets you $54,875. That's not a bad day's work there, right? In addition, you have your name spread out to 5,000 employees, many of whom will go to another job in the next 10 minutes, right? And they're going to take you with them and possibly get you into other companies to do a similar deal. I mean, you could even throw in a speaking engagement as part of that deal, or a workshop, or you could charge extra for it once the CEO likes you that much. All right, now let's jack it up a little bit. Let's say you landed a deal with a savvy corporate buyer who wants 25,000 of your books. Well, that savvy corporate buyer is not going to go for a 50% of cover price on a purchase of 25,000 books. All right. If you found one that would, you just hit the lottery. All right. Or you ran into an idiot. Most savvy buyers are going to go for what's called a cost plus deal. In other words, they will figure the cost to print and ship 25,000 books, and then you can add 10% or whatever you can wrangle out of them as your profit. Now, with the 25,000 book sale on the line, the buyer has a lot of leverage over you, so don't try to get greedy and kill the entire deal, adding on too much profit. But remember, also having 25,000 books out there is a big plus for you in the long run. Now, I do suggest that you make the plus in the cost plus plenty enough to handle contingencies that cost you more, or, in today's volatile times, you put it in the contract maybe that transportation costs or fuel surcharges for delivery will be determined when the actual shipping time occurs, because this deal might be months and months before it happens. Well, if you remember the supply chain problems last year where boats were lined up at the port of Los Angeles halfway to Hawaii, I don't know, and there was a shortage of trucks, the shipping costs went by leaps and bounds, burning up any profit the vendor could have made. And in many cases, the more they sold, the more they lost, all right? Because, in other words, they made a contract with the buyer for a set price, and then their costs skyrocketed, and they were still obligated to deliver at the contract price. Well, companies went out of business because of this. So be careful that there's contingencies in there, weasel clauses, I guess you'd call them. And of course, all of this is another reason I like digital products. I don't have to worry about supply chains because there are always plenty of electrons to go around. All right, now before I tell you how on speaking engagements you can do this and how you have to be careful, just I want to remind you about my mentor program. It's the longest running, most successful, most unique ever in the field of digital and internet marketing. I triple dog dare anybody to challenge me on that, and I'll embarrass them with my program. But also have a brand new program on how to make you a great podcast guest. Of course, that's included if you're in the mentor program, but you can buy it separately, I should say invest in it, because you can be, if you learn the things that I tell you, and of course, I've been on over 1,000 interviews. I've been back 13 times to some shows, been on the top shows in the world several times. So there's lots of little details, not just what you do when you're on the air or on the podcast. It's all the other things surround it that impress the heck out of the host, who invites you back and refers you and puts you in front of tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of warm prospects. So check that out at screwthecommute.com/great podcast guest. And that's all one-on-one. It's me and you for 4 sessions, which one of the sessions is you get a feature here on Screw the Commute. So check that out at screwthecommute.com/great-podcast-guest. All right, now, if you're going to do this multiple sales on speaking engagements, which I have done back when I was corporate speaking many, many times, you got to be careful because there are scumbag meeting planners that'll say, well, your fee is a little bit too expensive. And you say, well, do you have more than one that we could do? I could probably give you a better rate. And they say, oh, yeah, we got 6 of them coming up this year, so you'll give us a better rate, huh? Oh, yeah, if you book 6 of them. So what happens is the scumbag meeting planner gets the discounted fee on the first one, and then mysteriously the other 5 never occur. All right, so to protect yourself against this scumbag meeting planner, and it's not always the meeting planner's fault, corporate people are sometimes, airheads, and, they say stuff and they mean well, but then there's no way it's going to happen. And, and they don't care if you get screwed on the deal. See, so what you do is if that occurs, and they say, oh, yeah, we'll book you for 6 times if you reduce your rate by 30%. Okay, beautiful. So we're going to put this all on one contract. And there's a 50% deposit on the entire value of the contract. And then if they're legit, they're like, oh, okay, that's reasonable. If they're scammers, they'll be like, oh, no, we can't do that. And we haven't picked a date yet. And then they'll weasel out, so you'll know they're full of it. All right. So be careful with those scumbag meeting planners. All right. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Check out greatinternetmarketingtraining.com and screwthecommute.com/great-podcast-guest. And I will see you on the next episode. See you later.